pebble? Well, it's near the root of the tree. Where is that tree? It's near the huge boulder. Where is that boulder? On the eastern face of the mountain. So you need the whole set of instructions to take you to that. That last bit of instruction, look right there, under that pebble, you will find the needle. That's this. And after that, also one more thing remains. You have to still got to see the pebble with your own eyes. That seeing the pebble with your own eyes is the breakthrough, the enlightenment experience of realization. All right. So now we are here. We come to our goal, the heart of all things. In Advaita Vedanta, we are told that you are that ultimate reality, that which you are seeking for. And that reality is perfect. As that reality, you are whole, you are immortal, you're beyond death, you do not need anything more, you're complete in yourself, you're always at peace. And once we realize that, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, that realization solves all problems at a very deep level, at a very existential level. It won't solve illness, it won't solve poverty, it won't solve social strife. But at the deepest, most existential level, you will see it is all right, and you will be at peace. And then you can work towards solving these problems, at whatever level they are in your life. Will you be able to do that? Not really. Nobody has been till now. You can make things a little better. That's what one can do. Okay. So we are that, and how do we realize that? We are told that there's a process of inquiry. You are Brahman, you are pure being, pure awareness, complete fulfillment, Sat Chit Ananda. And then this process of inquiry will show you that. You have to see for yourself. Every spiritual path has its unique, it's the way they formulate the problem and way they give the solution. So in the path of bhakti, the path of devotion, the problem is that you don't believe in God. You don't have faith in God. And the solution is to believe in God, have faith in God, worship God, adore, surrender to God. That's the whole paradigm. Against this, you have the yogic paradigm. The yogic paradigm is not belief, not faith. It's very empirical that that ultimate reality exists. Your minds are highly disturbed. If you meditate, we'll show you how to meditate. You will get this extraordinary experience which will show to you prove to you the claims of religion. And Vivekananda said, if God exists, I should be able to see God. If I have an immortal soul, I should be able to feel it. And you can. Patanjali Yoga says you can. But you will get these extraordinary mystical experiences, spiritual experiences, what we call. And this will prove to you the reality, and it will solve your problem. The only problem with that kind of approach is spiritual experiences, mystical experiences, extraordinary experiences are not common. They are not quotidian, everyday things. Very few people have them. And that to have them also, it requires this rigorous practice over who knows how many decades of serious practice in these paths. I'm not doubting the genuineness of those experiences. I'm just doubting their rarity and the problem is they can be questioned. At least at the beginning, one can question them. What happens to mystics in all religions? Throughout the ages, mystics, the one way the mystics were treated, every religion, every age, mystics were always called crazy. Sri Ramakrishna was called crazy. Half the people in Dakshineshwar used to think he was mad. It was full of all these visions and experiences. And today, it's a more politically correct age, so they won't call you mad. They'll say that you have a stroke in this hemisphere of your brain, and that makes you feel one with the universe. So am I one with the universe? No, you are not. You need to go to the ER and you need to be treated. So this is the problem with mystical experiences. They are rare and they are questionable. Not relevant, but I can't help myself. This very funny anecdote I heard from a Swami. He went to our Swami Yogapandaji. He went to a seminar organized by another Swami. This was in our center near Paris, in Grèce. And when he went there, the seminar was going on and the Swami was giving talks, and it was a Q&A session. And that Swami invited our Swamiji, come sit here, you answer these questions. And the Swami, he said, I said, you have given the talk, you answer the questions. Why should I answer their questions? And that Swami quipped, because you are questionable. And this Swami, not to be outdone, he said, but Swami, you are answerable. So these spiritual, mystical experiences are questionable, and they can be doubted. To those who have genuine, veridical, life-transforming mystical experiences, there is no doubt at all. They're so powerful, more powerful than our day-to-day experiences. But for the rest, it can be questioned, it can be doubted. So against these paradigms, two paradigms. One is a faith, belief paradigm, dualistic faith and belief paradigm. The other paradigm is you do these meditative exercises, you will get certain experiences of God. And there are, it's possible, there are very valuable experiences. That's another paradigm. As against this is a different paradigm. I often stress this, many people don't appreciate it, but it's just the ABCD of non-dual Vedanta. We are not asking you to believe in anything. You mustn't. At every step, you must question and understand. Once Nivedita was walking, Sister Nivedita was walking with Swami Vivekananda, and she was questioning a lot. And then she felt bad, and she asked Swamiji, I'm sorry, did I annoy you? I'm asking all these questions. And he said, let none be sorry that they doubted. I questioned my master for 6 long years, he said, Sri Ramakrishna. I asked him questions for 6 long years, and then he says, he picked up a pebble. As a result, I'm as hard as that. I know every inch of the way. Let none be sorry that they doubted. And this is the attitude of a Advaita, non-dualist. That you must understand every step of the way. So the questioning is important. You're not supposed to start believing and say, you're great. I believe you. Or I like the color. Some people tell me, I like that color. It's orange, so I believe you. Or it's the most ancient philosophy, which it is, so I believe it. No, not because of that. Because you understand it and you see it to be true. That's why you hold on to it. So one must question. It's not a question of you don't have to believe it. It's also not extraordinary mystical experiences. This is the amazing thing that many people don't understand. Because in this Vedanta also we talk about samadhis, which we will. So people think that what we are recommending here is some kind of, very esoteric experience, and then you are free. No, it is what we are talking about here is continuously available to us. Right now, it's available to us. It's shining at us through every experience we have. Whenever you see something, it is there. Brahman is there. Whenever you hear, smell, taste, touch, when we think a thought, when we do not think a thought, it's there, as much clear and open. We don't see it. The whole point is to get us to see it. And when we do see it for the first time, this is important. When we do see it for the first time, it can feel like a tremendous mystical experience. So in that sense, most of the ancient literature, they will speak through of a breakthrough experience, of an enlightenment experience. So in this tradition, it is called Brahmakara Vritti. Brahmakara Vritti. The Vritti, I am Brahman, this moment of intuitive realization that I am Brahman, it comes. And it can feel like a tremendous new experience, but very soon you will see it was always there, that this was always a fact. We just have come to recognize it for the first time. And once it's done, it's done. You don't have to struggle with it anymore. I still haven't started, but I promise to stick to the time. Then we'll go into Q&A. Now I'm going to start. So towards the end of this book, this is an introductory book into the tradition, into Advaita Vedanta. We have been doing it for some time. Towards the end of this book, I'm jumping ahead to a set of practices, which starts with 102, verse number 102 and 3. Meditation, non-dual meditation. What is this non-dual meditation? in Advaita Vedanta, meditation has a precise purpose. It's not the purpose which is there in say Patanjali yoga. That's a different purpose. That's to calm the mind, focus the mind, and still the mind, so that the reality which is beyond the mind becomes evident. That is Patanjali yoga. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is stilling or cessation of the movements of the mind. Why would you do that? Tada drashtu swarupi avasthanam. At that point, the witness consciousness is appreciated in its real nature. What about other times? If the mind is not still, what happens? Vritti sarupyam. At other times, you, the pure consciousness, you are experienced as mixed up with the mind. Joy, anger, desires, memories, all of that is mixed up with, as if you get yourself, pure consciousness, but with an overlay of mind. So you still the mind, you realize what you are. Great. That's the purpose of meditation in Patanjali yoga, to still the mind. Isn't that the purpose? Yes and no. There is stilling of the mind here. But here, stilling of the mind is, I have investigated through the methods suggested earlier into who am I? I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am the awareness to which the mind and body appear. A changing mind, a changing body, and changing world appearing to this unchanging light of awareness. That's who I am. I've got it now. I've understood it. Now, how do I assimilate it? How do I make it an unchanging experience of life? How do I stay with it? How do I dwell in it? How do I get centered in it so that I don't have this feeling of being swept away again and again? That is the purpose of Vedantic meditation, non-dual meditation. This is called nididhyasana. It's a derivation of the same root, dhyana, to meditate, to contemplate. But this is a special name given because the purpose is different. In the path of knowledge, the understanding is that you've already got an appreciation of who you are. You have begun to get it at least. Now your real demand will be, give me something so that I can stay with it. Well, here are the practices for staying with it. Is there anything beyond this? There is. There will come a state. There will come, even the need for this meditation will go away. You will see you're staying with it effortlessly. There's no question of not staying with it. You know what this practice is like? It's like if you say, where is the Vedanta center of Seymour? You're there. No. How can I be there? And if you don't believe it at all, then we'll tell you, go out of the door, circle around the block, and then come back in through the door and come and sit here. And then you'll be in the Vedanta center of Seymour. Well, I'm already there. That's what I'm telling you. Once this foolish question has gone away from us, and I know I'm there already. I don't need the support of Vedanta classes, books, meditation practices. Then it's done. And you won't have this doubt anymore because the benefits will begin to flow continuously then. You enjoy that unbroken peace. You enjoy that fulfillment. You enjoy a serenity within, unshakable, unflappable. That is there. You can check. And it flows from that idea, then the realization that I am there already. It's all the time available to me. But before that, these practices are necessary. These are practices. But these are practices of staying with what you've already got. Okay. What Shankaracharya does in this book, he gives a 15-step practice of nididhyasana. And this book is very interesting that way because the 15-step practice of Vedantic meditation, non-dual meditation, is completely taken from the yogic meditation. All the terms are yogic terms, as we shall see. Those who have studied Patanjali yoga or even gone to a yoga studio or practice, you have all heard of asana, pranayama, all of these things. All of those terms will come in here. This is what they call appropriation. So Shankaracharya happily appropriates the entire yogic terminology, not only appropriates them, subverts them. He takes the yogic terminology and then changes the meaning radically. So we'll see, it's very interesting. So if you study this, You will get to know yogic meditation, you will get to know Advaitic meditation, and you will clearly see the difference between the two. And sometimes he is funny, he's humorous. Um, so at that point, one shouldn't feel bad that he's making fun of the yogis, he's pulling their leg gently. You know, it's, for example, um, there's one practice called, so in asana, when you sit straight, there's posture. So there's something called Deha Samyam, the posture of the body. And Shankaracharya gives the non-dual interpretation. What does posture mean? Posture, of course, you know what he means. He means being centered in that, in your real nature. That's real posture. But then what about this? The yogis teach us you should sit like this, your body should be aligned. He says, what's the point of sitting straight like the trunk of a dead tree? So that's kind of language he uses. Another time, when he's speaking about pranayama, control of the breath. So the traditional method of control of the breath in yogic pranayama is you breathe in, you hold the breath, and you release the breath. Then you breathe in again, hold the breath, and release the breath. So the simplest pranayama will be, this is a count. So you breathe in for 4 counts, hold the breath for 16 counts, and then release for 8 counts. Then breathe in the other nostril. So you have to close this nostril and breathe in through this one. Then close both, hold it for 16 counts, then release again. So this kind of thing is done. You can see even a priest, when they do puja, in puja, a little bit of pranayama. This is the most basic pranayama in yoga. Now, Shankaracharya will give the non-dual pranayama. And then someone asks, but what about that? That kind of pranayama. So that's just torturing the nose. Now, is he ridiculing yoga? Later on, he says, no, I'm not ridiculing yoga. All those yogic practices are all valid. They are helpful in calming and quietening and purifying the mind. And they're all really good. But here we are talking about the last step. Look under the pebble. You'll find the needle there. We're talking about that. We're not talking about climbing up the mountainside. Okay. Quickly, a list of the names of these practices. I'll chant them. If you have a book, you can follow. It doesn't matter. I'll just translate very quickly. 102, 103. The 15 steps of non-dual meditation. Yamo hi niyamastyago maunam deshascha kalata asanam moola bandhascha deha samyam cha driksthitihi prana sanyamanam chaiva pratyaharascha dharana atmadhyanam samadhischa proktanyangani vaikramat. Here are the steps, 15 steps of non-dual meditation enumerated in sequence. So what's the sequence? Yama, 5 rules, moral precepts to be followed. Niyama, 5 like regulations to be observed. These are words, these are terms taken from Patanjali Yoga. These are actually the first 2 limbs of the 8-limbed yoga of Patanjali. But he's taking them, and you'll see it completely changes the meaning. Niyama, Tyaga, renunciation. This is not from Patanjali Yoga. This is just something that monks are supposed to do. Tyaga, renunciation. Again, you'll see he'll change the meaning. Maunam, silence. Desha, appropriate place. Kala, appropriate time. Asanam, seating, seat. Moola bandha, which is lock. Those are practiced Hatha Yoga. There are particular locks which make the asanas more powerful. So yogic locks. Deha Samyam, posture of the body. Drik Sthiti, where do you keep your gaze? So control of the gaze. Prana Sanyamanam, the control of the breath. Pranayama. Pratyahara, now the 3 deeper levels of meditation are coming. Pratyahara is first withdrawing the sensory activity, so reducing sensory activity or stopping it. Then Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, the 3 limbs of the inner practice of yogic meditation. Dharana, focus. Dhyana, meditation. Meditation is the 7th of 8 limbs. When we say we're doing meditation, not doing meditation, you're trying to do meditation 99% of the time. Real meditation is the seventh of an arduous process of 8 limbs. And then samadhi, the complete absorption which follows from meditation. And then, but here he has given 15, if you see the sequence, 15 steps. Now, the interesting thing is, in Patanjali Yoga, those 8 limbs are there. Or these 15, if you take these 15 also, you have to do all of them. You can't just do the moral practice and then I am enlightened. No. Or you can't just have a good seat and sit nicely. That's it. No. All of them. You have to do the moral practices. You have to know how to sit. You have to know how to breathe. You have to know how to withdraw the sensory activity. You have to know how to focus, meditate, samadhi, then enlightenment. So all of them are necessary. However, in non-dual meditation, we'll see any one of them, each of them is a gate to enlightenment. Each of them is a gate to enlightenment. What we're trying to do is to stabilize ourselves in our real nature. Each of them will work directly. You don't even need any of the others. You can do them. Or you have a buffet of 15 gates or 15 techniques of entering into the non-dual state. Pick and choose as you like. What's the American term for it? Knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. There are 15 of them. Let me talk about 2 or 3 today, quickly. You get a flavor of what is mentioned. So the yogic practice and the non-dual Advaitic practice, side by side. The first one. Well, let me jump ahead. Third one. The third one is Tyag, renunciation. Third one is renunciation. It's in verse number 106. Before I go in there, I'm just reminded of something, a line from Abhinavagupta, who was a great Kashmiri Shaiva philosopher, saint. He wrote extensively, not only on philosophy, on spiritual practice, meditation, but aesthetics, so many things. In one where he's talking about meditations in the Kashmiri Shaiva tradition for enlightenment. So there's a book called Vijnana Bhairava, in which 112 meditation techniques are given for enlightenment. There are 112 tricks, basically, for tricking the mind into enlightenment. And there, in the beginning, I saw in the book which I have, Jaidev Singh's book, he has quoted a shloka by Abhinavagupta, where Abhinavagupta says, actually no technique can give you enlightenment. Expecting any of these 112 methods to give you enlightenment, or any technique in the world to give you enlightenment, is like, wait for it, is like expecting a pot to illumine the sun. Expecting a pot to illumine the sun. A pot, it can't illumine itself or anything else, let alone illumine the sun. The sun doesn't need illumination. And in fact, it's the sun which illumines the pot. So no technique of mind control meditation is going to give you a realization of who you are or what you are. And then he says, those who know need no technique. They don't need anything to go back or be centered in their real nature. Now I was thinking, these masters are amazing, because on the face of it, when you hear this, all these sophisticated meditation techniques, none of them can directly help you to become enlightened. You may become, but the technique cannot guarantee that you're going to become enlightened. It's as bad as expecting a pot to illumine the sun. It's just an impossible thing. Then what do you feel? You feel depressed. Oh, then why should I do it? What's the point? And I was just thinking, these masters, there's humor and there is incredible stuff. It's like an open secret. He has told you these techniques cannot work, and in that telling you has given you a direct road to enlightenment, a direct door to enlightenment, not even the road, the door to enlightenment is just in that remark. Consider the mind like a pot, and consider yourself as the sun which illumines the pot. If you get that, you'll be enlightened. It's a direct door. While telling you the techniques don't work, the techniques will not lead you to enlightenment, he has given you the door which opens to direct enlightenment. This, this is the beauty of these masters. Just think about it. The mind, which I'm now trying to focus with so much studies and classes, and now I'm going to posture and focus and withdraw the mind, breathing, and then quieten the mind and samadhi. It's a pot trying to illumine the sun. Cannot do it, need not do it. Who's the sun? You are. Right now, our problem is we think we are the pot. We're desperately trying to illumine the sun. But you are actually the sun shining upon the pot. Okay. But till that time, 15 steps. So one is renunciation. Tyaga prapancha rupasya chidatmatva valokanat tyago hi mahatam pujya sadyo moksha mayo yataha. Tyaga, relinquishment, renunciation, sannyasa, being a monk, all of these come under tyaga. Tyaga means renunciation. And the Bhagavad Gita has a lot to say about tyaga. Is it only a monk who is a renouncer, or the person who gives up all personal desires and works in the world for the welfare of others? Is that person not a greater renouncer? All those discussions are there. So renunciation is a very big subject. But look how he goes directly to the heart of the matter. One kind of renunciation is the renunciation of the yogi, of the monk, or of the person who sacrifices his or her own personal ends for the greater good. These are all examples of sacrifice, of renunciation. Why is renunciation necessary at all? Because what we are looking for is covered by the glitter of this world. This shining disc, Upanishad says, the face of truth is covered by a shining disc. So this shining disc has to be removed, at least for a while, to see the face of truth. The shining disc is, I am this person, these are my goals in life, I want this much money, this much praise, this much Facebook likes, and all of these are necessary for me to be happy. I'm quite sure this will make me happy. It hasn't yet. And if you look around, it hasn't made anybody happy yet. But I'm sure it will work for me. It doesn't work for anybody in human civilization till today, but it will work for me. But and that's how, if I pursue that, that has to be given up. That has to be given up. That is called renunciation. Even this color, the orange, or what the Buddhist monks wear, the yellow or the red of the Tibetans, it's all just the meaning is renunciation, basically. Tyaga. Now he says, you have to give up the universe. And you have to do it at once. It's done by seeing everything is pure consciousness. And this renunciation, why do people renounce? To get enlightenment and moksha, freedom. This renunciation, which I'm going to teach you, will give you freedom here and now, immediately. The moment you do this renunciation, that moment you get enlightenment, moksha, everything's done. So what is he talking about? This is where I tell the story of the princess of Kashi. It's one of my favorite stories. I heard it from a monk in the Himalayas. So in ancient times, in some kingdom, not the kingdom of Kashi, which is Benares, another kingdom, there was a play was staged in the court of a king. And in the play, one of the characters was the princess of Kashi, princess of Benares. And who will play the princess? The princess was supposed to be a little girl. And they suggested that the prince of that kingdom, who was 5 years old, he was a cute little boy, can't we dress him up as a princess and he can play the role of the princess of Kashi? And that's what he did. They put a dress on him and he looked so cute. The queen said, paint a portrait of my son, the prince, as the princess of Kashi. Today it would have been much easier, with your iPhone and everything, you take a picture. In those days, the court painter had to sit and paint a portrait of the little prince, just dressed as the princess of Kashi. Well, anyway, years passed. The prince grew up. He was like 20 years old now, doing princely stuff. One day he was exploring the palace. He went to some kind of underground storage place, and he found an old portrait. And he wiped the dust of that, and he saw this little princess and it's written the Princess of Kashi. And he saw that this date, so she must be my age, and he fell in love with her. And he felt that if I don't marry her, I won't be happy ever again. He was too shy to tell his mother, the king, or the queen, and he moped. And they realized something is wrong with the prince, but nobody knew what's going wrong. And finally, a wise old minister called him aside and, Prince, you can tell me, what ails you? The prince said, well, I'm in love. Good, good. Who is she? She is a princess. A princess, even better. They can get you married off soon as the princess. Which princess? The Princess of Kashi. Oh, really? Where did you meet her? I haven't met her. I saw an old portrait of hers, but it's all right. She is my age. I can see from the date of the portrait. She's just like 15 years ago. Then the minister said, Princess of Kashi, old portrait. Can you take me to that? And then the prince took him downstairs into the basement and showed him this. And the minister said to the prince that, Prince, you need to sit down. This is not the Princess of Kashi. Oh, whoever she is, I'll marry her. She could be an actress in Hollywood. I can go and marry her. I'm sure it'll be all right. It'll all go well. And then the minister said, no, it's he tells the whole story of the play which was staged 15 years ago, and how he was a little kid and dressed up as the Princess of Kashi, and this was the portrait painted, and tells the prince, it's not the Princess of Kashi, that is you, Tattvamasi. You are that. Now the question is, what happened to the prince's desire for marrying the Princess of Kashi? The desire went away. It went away immediately. But why did it go away? Did it go away because now I can't marry the Princess of Kashi, so what's the point? Not in that sense. Did it go away because, she is married to somebody else? That's why. No, not because of that. Did it go away because, she doesn't exist? Not even because of that. There is no Princess of Kashi apart from me. There never was. The world is our Princess of Kashi. This is what Advaita Vedanta teaches us and shows us. You can actually see that one endless being, awareness, in which one body mind is arising. So many bodies and minds are arising. So many living and non-living beings are appearing and disappearing in that one limitless awareness which you are. And we forget our real nature. We project it out there. This person, that gadget, this job, that food, this is our Princess of Kashi. Unless I have that, I will not be happy again. But it's you. You means not this person as pure being, as Satchidananda. You alone are that. Just like seeing things which are very desirable in our dreams and being attracted to that. Whatever terrifies you and tempts you in a dream is you. There is no other in a dream, although it appears to be all other. This realization, he says, now if you look at it, if you realize this, the entire universe is given up. Because it disappears, there's no universe. You have given up the entire universe, seeing that it is none other than I, Chit, pure consciousness, which is appearing as its own other, as appearing as its own object. And this realization itself is moksha. So now you see, literally true. Sadhyo moksha maya. Sadhyo means immediate, not after 20 years, not after death, not after many lives. Right now, the moment you get this insight, you are set free. Stay with this renunciation. That the world is the Princess of Kashi for me. Is I alone and appearing like this? Apply it again and again. It doesn't matter whether you succeed in overcoming temptation or terror. Just keep applying it. You will begin to see the bonds of the world, this pull is lesser and lesser. You are more and more at ease with everything and everyone. This is one meditation. Where can you apply it? All the time. Anytime you like. Then The next one is silence. I'll talk about the pranayama a little bit, but the next one is silence. He's given 3 verses on silence. I'm keeping quiet, so 3 verses on. And silence is very important. Mahatma Gandhi, a person who used to give so many speeches and write so much, one day in a week he would not speak. Tremendous amount of energy is flowing out through this, what I'm doing, talking, talking, talking. So mauna, restraint of speech. Practices of complete silence, maybe for 1 day or 2 days or 3 days, but not much more than that, because overdoing it leads to repression. Once I was with a monk who was completely silent. He had been so for years. And once we shared a room at night when he fell asleep. He would interact with us through gestures. But at night when we fell asleep, all night long he talked. In the morning when I told him, Swami, you're talking in your sleep. He was like this, through gestures. He was like, who, me? No. And other Swamis would have a great time pulling his leg, because they would sit and eat, and he's sitting there eating. We'd sit on the floor and eat. And they would say, the Swami, he's been practicing silence for so long. And it was sort of pre-arranged game. The other Swami would say, yeah, he doesn't speak to us, but there are, the devotees to whom he speaks, and the people whom he likes, he speaks to them. Just to us, he doesn't speak. And then the Swami, who was hearing all of this, desperately trying to deny, like this, but the other Swamis would start eating like this, pretend not to see. It's very difficult when you're trying to communicate in sign language and nobody looks at you. But that's repression. Yeah. Don't speak for years. Another monk I knew who did not speak for 12 years, literally really did not speak for 12 years. And then he ended his vow of silence and started speaking. And boy, did he speak. He was a terror. People would run away from him. He's not going to speak about spiritual stuff, just about everything in the world. But so that's repression. But once in a while, control of speech, maybe once a week or something like that. Ranganathanji used to have one Thursday, he would not speak. And then 2 months in a year, he would not speak. Something like that he would practice. So that is control of speech. Shankaracharya says, and then he gives 3 verses on how your ultimate reality is beyond language. And he says, that is silence. Your very nature is silence. Mandukya Upanishad says, the name for the Atma, Shantam, the ever quiescent, the ever serene, beyond any possibility of disturbance. That's real silence. Shankaracharya says. And then somebody asked, what about the silence that other people observe, not speaking for a day or something like that? He says, Giram Maunam tu Balanam Prayuktam Brahmavadi. The knowers of Brahman, the teachers of Brahman, they say that the silence of the speech is for children. So it's like you go into a classroom. You can't do this here. In India, they do. Kids are chattering and running around shouting, and the teacher yells, silence! Sit still! So like that, a mind is like little kids running around all the time. You're saying, silence! Go, quiet, Chup, in Hindi they say. So you just quieten the mind down. That's all it does. Real silence is to know our real nature, which is ever silent. Silent with a capital S. It is silent even when there is speech. Even underlying speech, there is a deep silence. There's no time, I just mentioned this and stop. We have an ashram in the Himalayas a place called Mayavati. It was established by Swami Vivekananda. Those who have gone there, there's a very deep silence. It's some acoustic of the valley, which gives a special feeling of silence. It's not particularly high up either, or 5,000 feet up. But it is a very deep silence in that valley. And it's so silent that it sort of seeps into you. And the monks who have spent months and years there, it permanently becomes a part of their character. There's a core of silence to them which you can feel when you come in contact with them. The second time I went there, I spent some time there, and I enjoyed, soaked in the silence. But I had a remarkable experience. From there, we come back to the plains. There is a very, very busy city called Lucknow. We come back to that. Very noisy, very busy. So I was back from those absolute silent Himalayan places to Lucknow. I was at a traffic intersection sitting in a rickshaw. And you can imagine the noise all around. And you won't believe it. I can still remember, it was such a thrill. I sensed that silence, that Himalayan silence underneath that noise. So it's always there. It's here now. Yeah. It's always there. And that's just a reflection. That's even not the ultimate. It's a reflection of what you are. This great poet, I forget her name, Emily Dickinson, I think. She writes about silence and solitude. She says there's a silence of the sailor on the high seas, solitude of the sailor on the high seas, and there's a silence of, she says, of death. Imagine somebody you knew has just died, and you're in that room. There was somebody, and it's gone now forever. Silence of death. And then she says, these shall be noise considered compared to. All of these, the greatest silences you can think of in the world, in nature, in life, these are all like noise compared to the silence, solitude of a soul turned into itself. When you turn yourself into yourself, into the Atman basically, you stay there centered. That silence, he says, she uses the term, these shall be noise considered compared to the polar silence of a soul turned into itself. One more, pranayama, and then stop. So here's an actual practice. He says, you know what the regular pranayama is. Stop the right nostril, breathe in for count of 4 ohms. Om, 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 om. And I'm not teaching you pranayama, by the way. You don't learn it this way. You want to learn, go to a yoga teacher. And then stop the left nostril, hold it for 16 ohms, and then release it for 8 ohms. Then again, breathe in for 4 ohms, hold it for 16, release it for 18. That's one pranayama. And that's the most minimum, basic. And what does that do? It calms the nerves and calms the mind finally. It settles the body and the pranic system and the mind. It works. If you try it a few cycles, you'll see the mind calms down. He says, breathing in, holding the breath, and exhaling. He says, Vedanti, non-dual pranayama is breathing out the world. The world is an appearance, like a dream, like a shadow. The world is an appearance, like the princess of Kashi. That is breathing out. Breathe out the world, breathe out the universe. Then breathe in, I am Brahman. I am that one existence, consciousness, bliss in which the world is appearing. Then hold the breath, stay there. Then let go of the breath, breathing out the world, because disturbances will come up again. Disturbances, breathe out again. And then breathe in again, I am Brahman. Stay there. And notice, after a few cycles, you forget the connection with the breath. The breath has really nothing to do with it, just to anchor your mind. So just to remind you, because the mind is flickering, just to remind us that breathing out means the world is an appearance, princess of Kashi, like a dream, like a shadow. Breathing in means I am the witness awareness. And holding the breath means stay with it. When can you do it? Well, when can you breathe? All the time. Highly recommended, breathing. So if you're breathing, this is natural. Once you link this to the breath, it's always available to you. This is a non-dual pranayama. As you can see, it has really nothing to do with the breath, and it has all to do with the non-dual philosophy that I am Brahman. Good. Let me just do a peace chant, and we'll go into Q&A. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Before I forget, Happy Diwali for everybody. So we can have a short Q&A. We have got about 20 minutes. You can ask your question, tell us your name, ask the question, keep it brief. And all right. One kind of question which I hope, um, one is the kind of question where I give answers, information. Another is if I can use the question to point back to our real nature. That's the kind which is most useful. All right. Anybody? Raise your hands. Don't be shy. The lady here.
Here is one question.
All right.
Maharaj, thank you for your excellent lecture as usual. I just need some clarification because as far as Sri Ramakrishna, Jato Mat Tato Path, and we are here insisting more on Vedantic philosophy. And secondly, he himself had mentioned that for bhaktas of modern world, uh, success, we have to pursue success even though it's relative, and Jiveda, Bhakta Seva, and Sankirtan. This we have to do in spite of something Suchi called immoral in our daily activities. How do you, can you throw some light on this? Thank you.
Okay. So all he says, as many faiths, so many paths to realization. Jyotimat Tatapad. Then your question was, but you're concentrating here on Vedanta. No, this is not what Sri Ramakrishna said. It doesn't mean that there are so many paths to come to the Vedanta society. You must come by all these paths. No. You have taken a particular path to come here, a particular route which your GPS suggested.
Yeah.
Now there you can't say that all roads lead to the Vedanta society, so I must go by all roads. Oh GPS, why are you guiding me by, why are you so exclusive? Why only this path? No. Sri Ramakrishna also, the same Sri Ramakrishna also said, the parable of the man who was digging for water. He was digging for water and he didn't find water in one place, and then somebody told him that dig there, you might find water there. He went to dig there. It's hard work, digging a well. Then somebody said, well, try that place. And at the end of the day, he had tried in half a dozen places and no water. But if he had persisted and kept on digging in the first place where he started, he might have found water. So, Sri Ramakrishna never says that don't concentrate on one. Rather, he says concentrate on one. And always remember all of these paths lead. There's no need for fanaticism. And this idea that I am right and everybody else is wrong, that's completely wrong. So, hold on to your path. He said Ishto Nishtha, which is your particular path of spiritual practice. Hold on to that with all your might and focus there. So, if you're going to learn Vedanta, do it well. In Bengali, they say bhasha, superficially, not superficially, do it well. So we must hold on to this. The second part was bhaktas. We must hold on. He says you have to pursue success in this world. For modern bhaktas, he never said that. He never said that you have to pursue. He said if you are going to pursue wealth and success in this world, then always surround yourself with religious practices, with spiritual practices, the whole Harinam Sankirtan and all of that, and use the wealth and the success you have gained for a high spiritual purpose connected to spirituality. This is what he said. Tell us your name and ask the question.
Namaste Swamiji, my name is Sonali, and I don't really have a question, but this is an observation based on what you just mentioned about silence. It reminded me of your talk that you recently gave on it from bit from chit. So when we take the bit part, which is 1 and 0 in computer science language, we can see that 1 and 0 is the basic duality of this world, which is also equivalent to the physical noise and the physical silence, right? Like 1 could be all the sounds in the physical world, and we can take 0 to be the physical silence when we just, keep quiet.
Right.
But the chit, which is the consciousness, is a witness
To both.
Mm-hmm. To both, right?
That's beautifully said. Thank you for that. And if you compare the ones and zeros, the bit to the mind, the it is the material world, the bit is the mind, the thoughts. So sometimes we have thoughts, sometimes we do not have thoughts, and both are experiences because both are illumined by you, the consciousness. But one unchanging consciousness. The arising of thoughts and the disappearance of thoughts are also in that consciousness. They are not something separate. But the consciousness itself, and consciousness I'm using an English word, but it means chit or chaitanya in Sanskrit, or what the Tibetan Buddhists would call the clear light of the void. So in that, appearances are like a magical display, they appear and they go back again. I remember I had this interesting discussion with a professor of philosophy at Harvard University. So she was teaching Descartes. I think, therefore I am. So Descartes was trying to find out one irreducible fact, something that could not be doubted. And he found that one thing that could not be doubted is the doubting mind. I am thinking. If I think that, does the mind exist? I doubt the mind. You're still thinking. That I think, that cannot be doubted. So therefore I exist. The thinker must exist because I am thinking. Now I ask the question, what happens when Descartes is not thinking? Is he still there or does he disappear? Because I think, therefore I exist. When Descartes is in deep sleep, or even when awake between two thoughts, does he does he pop in and out of existence continuously? And it's not a funny question. There's a whole philosophy based on this. The Tibetan Vijnanavada, the theory of momentary consciousness, stream of momentary consciousness, says something pretty similar. Although they still talk about an underlying, like a spaciousness of clear light. But so she had no answer. It's see, Descartes just found that I exist surely, and then that's all he was interested in. And then he wanted to actually go from there and build up the rest of knowledge. If you know his project was how to overcome the problem of skepticism, how to put knowledge on sure foundations. So I exist, thinker exists, thought is indubitable. That much he was interested in. He did not stay with it. I am, cogito ergo sum. Those who have heard this, I think, therefore I exist. This is very well known. But if you read Descartes' meditations, I think it's the first or the sixth meditations, translated into English, there he says something very poignant. I found it so fascinating. He says, after having discovered, I exist, I think, therefore I exist. But what am I? This I which exists. It's not a material world, not a material body, not the mind also. Then what am I exactly? And then Descartes says, how strange it is. He says, how passing strange it is that of which I am completely sure, entirely sure, I know almost nothing. I'm sure I exist, but what am I? I know almost nothing about it. And that which I know so much about, the world, psychology, mind and the world, I know so much about it, I can't be sure of it. This is how passing strange. That which I am indubitably sure of, I know nothing, almost nothing. And that which I know so much about, I cannot be sure of it. They're all appearances. Now, what Advaita Vedanta does is, it discovers, I am the witness of thoughts. And then it stays with that witness and tries to explore and say, what could be that witness? And clearly, one thing is, it exists. Yeah, we know that. Then, another thing is, it's not a dull, dead existence. It's an aware existence. There's consciousness there, there's light there, luminosity there. Not only that, the only luminosity that we know is that one self-existence. Any one of us. Consciousness, only in us. See, what about all these people? You don't know the consciousness in those people. You can only see their bodies. You can only see their behavior. You can only hear their language. If you are a telepath, you can only see their thoughts. But you can never, ever experience awareness as you're experiencing awareness directly here. So awareness, consciousness is singular for which there is no plural. That's another thing Vedanta discovers. And not only that, this light of awareness is the only light that there is. This external world, this room, you cannot see it without this light. But this light, you cannot see it without the light of the eyes. If I close my eyes, no light will work. And the eyes, the input of the eyes, you cannot see it unless the mind is attentive. And what's going on in the mind, you can't see it unless you are aware. So ultimately, awareness is the light of lights. We are going to sing that now, Jyoti Ra Jyoti. in the Arati song, the light of lights. Where is it found? He says, Ujala Riddhi Kandar. We'll hear the song now. It shines in each of our hearts. Each of our hearts means within us, at the core of our being. This ever shining singular light, which is also existence, which has no other quality, nirguna. This is the Atman. So Advaita Vedanta explores this. And this is the foundation of all life experience, joy, sorrow, everything in the universe, in our lives, is made possible by this one light. Anyway, it's like a phenomenology of consciousness, an exploration of pure consciousness. Who else wanted to ask a question? Anybody else? Don't be shy. Yes. Please tell us your name and ask the question.
Hi, Swami. I'm Bobby.
Yes.
Thank you so much for everything.
We corresponded, yeah.
Yeah, we did. Thank you. Man, blown away as always. We were driving up here and just seeing, that there's like no wrong way to God, and there's like it's all. And we talked about the topic of the peace that
passes all understanding.
peace that passes all understanding.
Right.
Right, and understanding that part.
That's biblical, yes.
Yeah, but just that same idea of it's okay that I can't totally understand it, right?
It's not just that we can't totally understand it. Peace that passeth understanding, our understanding is always of the object. Whatever we can speak of, whatever we can think about, whatever we see, smell, hear, taste, touch, probe with our instruments, it's the object. This peace, which the Bible speaks of, by the way, this peace is not an object. Then what else is there if it's not an object? The subject is there. You are there. The peace that passeth understanding, that transcends all subjective experience, all objective experience, is the subject, is you. So it's not a peace which the mind attains and then loses, because anything that the mind attains, it will lose. This peace exists, like the silence we are speaking of, it exists when the mind is not at peace. This peace still exists. You are that peace. And this peace exists when the mind is at peace. It underlies the restlessness of the mind. It underlies the quietness, quietude of the mind. This is the peace that passeth understanding. It's you, the real you. It's not peaceful mind. It is peace itself, and you are that. And a result of that would be the peaceful mind.
Thank you.
There are those, who are so immersed in that peace. They communicate it to you when you are in their company. You come away with that quiet mind, at least for a while. Yes. Tell us your name and ask the question.
Yeah, Swami, my name is Sarita, and I'm asking this question. You said there's a deep light within us, right? Which is we should be aware of the light within us, which is the the whole consciousness. And I was wondering, when you go into meditation, and would you get closer to the light? Will you be able to see that light with constant practice of meditation? Or, you can feel it in many other ways, but, I'm assuming meditation.
Meditation is great,
Yeah.
but my answer is, since it's an Advaita Vedanta class, it's not a deep light within us. You are that light. It's not just within us, it's outside us, inside us, or more correctly, everything is inside that light. Even more correctly, the light alone is. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, we were just reading in the Gita class a couple of days ago, I pervade all this world in my nature as that light, as that unmanifest light. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagat abhyaktamurtina, in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the 4th verse. By me, in the form of that unmanifest light, the whole universe is pervaded. Step 1. That I am in all beings as that light, as you just said. Then he says, no, it's not actually that I am in all these beings. Matsthani sarva bhutani, nachate aham teshu avasthitam. In me, in that light, all beings exist. It's not that I am in those beings. What does that mean? Consider a dream, the mind which is dreaming. And in that dreaming mind, the world is seen. There's a world, in a dreaming world, you're walking with people, talking with people, there's a sky and the earth, and it's all dreamt up in the mind, like a virtual reality. And there are people you're talking to, you're yourself there, you can see Sarita yourself in the dream. And when you wake up from the dream, you know it was just my mind which dreamt up all of those things. Now, would it be right to say that there were those people and the sky and the rock and the river in the dream, and in that Sarita's mind was there inside everybody? You'd say, no, the better way of saying is the dreaming mind was there. Sarita's mind was there. In that, all of these things appeared. Is it true that there were people and inside that the dreamer mind was there? No. Rather, the dreamer's mind was there. Inside that, the dreamer's mind, the whole dream appeared. Similarly, that one light of consciousness, light means we keep using material terms like light. It's just awareness or consciousness. The one consciousness is there. In that consciousness, the entire universe appears. It's not that the universe is there, people are there. In them, a little bit of consciousness is there here and there. This is the movement from what one might call panpsychism today to the Advaitic idea of one consciousness. It's not that there's consciousness in everything. That itself is a huge step forward. There was a time when scientists would only agree to the fact that there is consciousness in human beings. They wouldn't even say animals have consciousnness. It's ridiculous, but they wouldn't agree to that. Now they agree. Human beings have consciousness, higher animals, even lower animals have consciousness. Now there are theories like Tononi's integrated information theory, the panpsychism, which David Chalmers talks about, that there might be a basal level of consciousness throughout this universe. Every physical entity, including non-living things, even particles, will have a kind, not that it thinks, not that electrons are thinking, being mischievous and having a party, no. But there is like a proto-consciousness in all entities of this universe. That's just the first thing which Krishna says. I pervade the entire universe in my unmanifest light as Abhyakta Murti. Next is, the entire universe appears in me, that consciousness. It's not that I am in them, that there is a universe and I'm inside them, not like that. And then the third step, Krishna denies it completely and he says that Nacha matsthani bhutani pashyame yogam aishwaram. It's not even that the universe and all beings are in me. They are not. I alone am. Consciousness alone is. Whatever you see here are appearances of consciousness. Call it the dream of consciousness, the play, the leela of consciousness, whatever you call it. The most precise term is found in Advaita. It is that they are appearances, nama rupa. They are superimpositions. Now, where is this consciousness? You say, it is within me. No, it is you. Rather, this body, this mind, is within consciousness. And even that, one more step, this body and mind are appearances, consciousness alone is. It can be demonstrated. See, this sounds like some radical science fiction stuff. It can be demonstrated here now. We don't have the time. But I can refer you to, in the Garrison Institute, I did that once. There was a full meditation session on non-dual meditation. And I led a guided meditation to this state of realization. That how do you dissolve the entire universe, what you're experiencing right now, into sensory experiences into mind into consciousness. So it's a non-dual meditation. You see, Swami Sarvapriyanandaji non-dual meditation is in the Garrison Institute. There's part 1 and part 2. I've done that only once online. Take a look. So there, the idea that there is some light within me which I have to meditate upon, you can do that. And there's a good exercise. But Advaitic position is, you are the light. And mind, body, universe are appearances in that light, in that one consciousness. That's why in Upanishads, you are called the light of lights. How? What is the light of this room? This light. What is the light of this light? Your eyes. Close your eyes, this light will not work. What is the light of your eyes? Your mind. You don't pay attention to what you're saying. The people sometimes might be there, very carefully looking at me, but not listening to anything. One Swami, humorously, he says, "You are here, but you don't hear." So the mind is the light of the senses. But what is the light of the mind? You. With you. Awareness, consciousness. And that is an unflickering light, that light which can never go out. That's what you are. On that high note, let us wrap it up today. Once again, happy Diwali, and we'll go into Arati now. Yes. Yes. I've already done the Shanti mantra earlier.
Maharaj, after Arati, there will be a 10 minutes of silent meditation.
Yes.
Lights up.
আরতিটাকে রাখে দিই, আরতিটাকে আমি করবো? আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে। আমি দিয়ে দিচ্ছি।
Maharaj, there is a little problem. The article is very condensed by the DC center. It's only 10 minutes. So don't have the slow and the fast.
Wonderful.
So we just do Deepam Arati. The 5 full Arati time you know. And the ride is here. He is here. খালি দীপক
হ্যাঁ ও কি বলুন
শুধু দীপক
যেটা আপনি এখন মহারাজ গানটা ছোট করে দেওয়া হয়েছে
যতক্ষণ গানটা চলবে ততক্ষণ
হ্যাঁ
আরতি হবে
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ ওই সবটা
সম্পূর্ণ সব না না শুধু আরতি শুধু দীপটা শুধু দীপটা
অবশ্য সবই দিয়েছে যদি আপনি করেন না না
শুধু দীপটা বলে
Translate
Okay, this is purely the words, yes. And it will be sung on particularly we play the necklace. Wow. Yeah. But we can give you a fantasy. Really nice.
এগুলো দিতে হবে তো ওই প্যাকেটগুলো সবাইকে দিতে
प्रणाम करने के लिए জামাটা একটা থালায় দিতে হয় মাটিতে
হ্যাঁ আসবে